In this video, we're going to be talking with my good friend, again, Jeff Goodman. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And we're going to be talking about a new loan product, or not necessarily a new loan product, but something that he's reopening up into the world. He's been pretty much talking to it with everyone. And, I just thought, hey, let's get this out there.
What a better way.
Yeah, what a better way.
Social media.
All right, let's do this.
Thank you so much.
We're kind of in one of those markets right now where everything's a little funky, right?
For sure.
Interest rates are higher. Homes are much higher than they were, generally speaking, and they're still flying off the shelf like hotcakes if they're either priced right or they have the right amenities.
Right.
Now, the homes that are actually sitting on the market are those that maybe don't look the best, maybe a little bit older, too much character, or, they were overpriced in the beginning, and now the sellers are trying to chase the market.
Right.
And you were telling me about another option out there.
Yes.
Something that, buyers or sellers could take advantage of it.
Yes. Something that I've told you, it's become almost like a passion now. And I think most everyone I try to talk to now, I try to make this option up to them, because obviously our job as a loan officer, as a realtor, is to make sure we're presenting all the options to our buyers or sellers. So one of my things that I've been talking a lot about is renovation loans. Because as you said, there are plenty of houses out there that are on the market, want to get sold, but feedback from most everyone is they don't look that great. I think I was talking to you about, I did an open house over the weekend, and this house was great. Good price point. Sellers had done a lot of renovations over the years. I knew the house was going to fly off the market. But talking to a lot of people that came in that day, they all kind of get same consensus. I love this house. Lots of houses out there I've looked at previously. Man, they need some work. That's where I roll into, well, let's talk about this other option for you, because I think this is something you should at least consider. It's not going to be for everyone, but it can definitely help open up some avenues in regards to something you like, could see the potential, and you know what? Could get it, and let's take it to the next step.
So Jeff, what is a renovation loan, and why would someone use it?
So a renovation loan is purely, let's take that house that's for sale, not so beautiful inside. And, and obviously a lot of the houses they're dated, and, what's the typical? It needs flooring, new carpet, needs to be painted, probably kitchen's a little outdated, bathrooms. I mean, that's the norm when you walk into a house, which that stuff can be fixed and corrected very easily. This is basically taking a mortgage and taking the cost of that renovation, upgrades, whatever you want to call it, and you're putting it into the mortgage. It's not a second type of loan on the house. It's not some, personal loan I'm going to give you out of my pocket. It's basically added into the mortgage on the house. So you've got, one mortgage, you've got one payment, nothing different. It's just we're going to do the renovation at the same time.
Yeah, and Jeff, who is this for? And let's be a little bit loose about that. Like, who can actually use this loan?
Truly, man, this loan's for anybody. That's the great thing about it. I mean, obviously, being in lending, in this market, most loans being done right now are purchases. I mean, there's refinances out there, obviously, but a majority of this, I try to gear this towards people who are looking to buy a house. So this could be anybody looking to buy a house, whether they're looking to make it their own property they want to live in as an owner occupied. Could be someone who is maybe thinking about buying a second home, or someone who looks to buy a rental property. We can do it at that as well. So it can be anybody looking to buy any type of those properties. And I mean, there is the possibility that we could do the refinance as well if they want to do that. because that is an option as part of the program. But owner occupied, second homes, investment properties.
And you and me both talk about how this is so useful, right? Like, is there a way that that sellers can actually leverage this loan product as well? Maybe not necessarily them as the loan product, but at least pushing out the option for people. Or would you say that's more like a realtor thing?
I think it's probably a realtor thing because most people, when I talk to them about this, they've never heard of it. Even realtors, they don't know much about it. So a seller probably is not going to know, but if the realtor is educated and is aware of it, the typical is, you can see this all the time on the MLS. House for sale, it's going to say cash only. Might say conventional loan only, no FHA. Because the realtor and the seller knows, obviously, there's issues with the house that aren't going to pass through lending standards. Renovation loans don't care. So, I'm always trying to educate people, like, you should never have a listing that says cash only because you are taking a majority of the buyers out of the equation. Renovation loans don't care what the condition of the house is. It doesn't have a front door. That doesn't matter. Renovation loans are going to take care of that. So you should always, if you think you've got a house that's for sale and it's going to have some issues in your listing, I always recommend, talk to me about renovation finance and we have an option for you. That way those buyers who might want that house or like it can go, oh, there's a renovation product. I can still get this house. I don't have to have cash only. As the realtor, yep, I have an option. Talk to my lender. At least it's an option. It opens doors. And that's the whole idea. Let's try to open doors for more people to buy the house and not for just that person who has to have cash only because of the issues with the house.
Mm-hmm. So then on the selling side, then at least knowing that these products out there could be useful, at least for sellers and for listing agents, if they're able to at least advertise that, hey, my house isn't in the best condition, but if you do like at least the general side of it, then maybe we can make something happen.
That's a good way to put it. Yes.
And what does this process look like? Not necessarily how do I get the loan, but what does it actually look like as it's running?
So the process is, it's a simple one in my opinion. Obviously, if you are the buyer and your offer gets accepted, what you're going to be doing during your escrow process, because there's always an escrow process you have when you're buying a house, is you're going to be wanting to get some bids on whatever it is you're going to want to do that house. And obviously the renovation stuff, there's so many things you could want to do. You're going to want to get your bids. We're going to take that bid and we're going to give it to the appraiser. What he does is he now appraises the house on the after improved value. Okay. You with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's all based on the after improved value. The loan is based on that after improved value as well. We get the contractor documentation because obviously the contractor needs to be licensed. So we have documentation that they have to fill out. We close the loan. And once you get your keys as the buyer, your contractor then has basically most of the loans, they have 6 months to complete that work. While he's doing that work, we are doing the draws as far as the money's concerned, because that's a question that a lot of people ask me, if I'm the buyer, am I paying the contractors while he's doing the work? No, we are the lender, so we are actually doing the draws to the lender. We're maintaining that for you. If it's a renovation where, depending on the project, that you can't live in the house, there's actually ways that you can finance those payments as well into that mortgage as well, that renovation. Just depends on the scope of the work you're done. And I don't know if I ever told you that.
No, you haven't. So 2 questions then. One, do you pick the contractor or does the lender pick the contractor?
No. It's funny. A lot of people ask that same question. We do not pick the contractors. We suggest, as the lender, go out and get 3 bids. It's completely up to you, though. Obviously, if you've got, Uncle Tom, who's a licensed contractor, has got his own business and he can cut you a deal, hey, that's fine. We don't dictate who you have to use.
Thank you, Uncle Tom.
But no, we do not pick the contractor. That's not something we do. We just suggest you get 3. If you don't want to get 3, that's completely up to you.
How would you suggest someone to find contractors if they don't already have people in their pockets?
So if you're like myself, I mean, I don't really know any contractors, but I've always believed the easiest way to go about something like that, and maybe it's cheaper, I don't know, is walk into Lowe's or Home Depot. It's like a one-stop shop. You know, we've all been through Lowe's and Home Depot, and if you kind of go to the middle of the store, there's that big kiosk area where the home improvement area is. And I know you can sit down with those folks and literally you can build everything out right then and there. This is what I need to do. This is what I want. And obviously they have contractors that they work with. To me, that could be the easiest way to do it. Because that's what I would do, because I don't know anyone.
Yeah, and if you are a contractor out there, you're watching this, or you know someone who's a contractor, reach out to us so that we can all network.
That is a great way. That's a great idea. Yeah. You know, what's funny, when I walk my dogs in my neighborhood, sometimes you'll see a house that has renovation. Someone's doing some kind of renovation, and those contractors put their signs out in front of their house. Actually, I just took a picture of one the other day. I was walking through this neighborhood because, like, hey, there could be an opportunity to try to network with the contractor for whatever they do. Because, like I said, I don't know people, but it's a good way to network to find more people, because contractors obviously know people doing jobs. And, there's multiple ways of people to pay for their renovation jobs, but, this is obviously one lending way to do it for sure.
And I think the biggest part too is that it's really hard to find good people out there.
For sure.
Not good as in like good intentions. I feel like a lot of people have good intentions nowadays, but actually being able to complete the job in a timely manner with good ethics and good methods.
True. Because
one of the biggest things that we're seeing now, especially with like a lot of new builds, is things have been rushed, especially throughout COVID. Clients are now complaining, my water's leaking, I don't have a proper drain. And that in that world is fairly common, rather than just finding the right people.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of them out there, but they're just all busy now because people know, hey, when you need your windows changed, you call Uncle Tom.
Right.
Also, second question, based upon what we were talking about earlier, how do the draws work? Does the lender just pay the people as the work is being completed? Like, hey, you need 50% now to buy materials? Or is it, the window guy is giving this quote, we're going to pay them out now?
Depending on the product, because within that renovation, there are multiple products, okay? Each one might have a different amount of draws that we can do, okay? So it just depends on which product, obviously, that client's using. Mm-hmm. But it varies.
How many renovation products are there?
We have about 19.
19.
Yeah, we have a little bit of everything.
And what are those loan types looking like?
So
the biggest one I've heard is like 203 FHA, but obviously that's FHA that has its own guidelines.
203K.
203K, sorry.
So
loan police.
I mean, no, well, here's the thing. So my dad was in lending for years, and this is what FHA 203K was his thing. That's what he was. That's what he did. That was his wheelhouse in a sense. And most people know what FHA 203K is because that's what a lot of lenders are able to do. But there's so much more to it than that. And that's what I try to explain to everyone as far as what we do as our company is we have the scope of all of it. So FHA is just one of the products. We've got conventional products. And like I said, so when I said we can do owner-occupied second homes and investment properties, we're talking conventional loans. We've got VA. Everyone, we thank everyone who's a veteran, appreciate what they did for us. But we've got renovation for VA loans. And then the other one is jumbo products. And then just got word today, I think looks like we're bringing on USDA as well. So we've got a renovation product for every type of loan out there. It just, depends on what the client wants to do, what fits best for them. They've got the option. Just depends on what they want to do.
I'd be interested to hear some of your future stories about the USDA.
I haven't done one in years, but and obviously, USDA is not a big thing in our local market because, Sacramento's not part of DA unless you go
Going like
outside.
the outskirts,
Yeah,
right?
you hit the outskirts. So, it's not that big of a product, I believe.
I'm just thinking like you take a USDA, you go out a little bit further, maybe Galt area. The ARV on a lot of those buildings or a lot of those homes could be, immaculate just
Yeah.
based upon the work that's done there.
Yeah.
So, if you ever have anything, let me know. I'm super curious.
I would be curious myself.
Now, out of those loan products or the loan types, which ones are primary owners and then which ones are investment? Because that's going to be something I'm going to ask you like right after, because I've never heard of a renovation loan that could be used for investment properties.
And most people haven't. And that's probably the number one question I get. When I talk to people about renovation, they go, can you do this for rentals? Well, yes, I can. So FHA is obviously owner occupied. VA, owner occupied. The jumbo product is owner occupied. But the conventional piece, that's where, we can go Fannie or we can go Freddie. We can do second homes. We can do investments, owner occupied. It all depends on, when we got that client, like, okay, what are they wanting to do and what product's going to fit them best? And that's where, it's just all about education.
And in terms of investment, when people hear investment, there's two main ones that come to mind, right? It's the short-term investment, the flips, and then the long-term investments, which are the rentals. And you said that these work perfectly well for rentals. What about flips?
I'm sure you could, but we like to have these loans held for a little bit longer. So, because when you tell me flip, and I think of someone, obviously I watch people, the TV shows, let's put it that way. As I understand, I'm not a flipper, so I don't have the education for that, but the idea is to get in and out as quick as possible and turn that house. And this is not that product in my opinion. So to me, it's more of people looking to buy that rental property to hang on to it for a long term. That's my idea.
Whenever we talk about renovations, there's always two main types, and you and me joked about this yesterday: the lipstick renovations or the cosmetic, and the hard renovations.
Right.
What was your definition again about the two?
So like the lipstick is, the paint, the flooring, cabinets, countertops, bathrooms. That's to me like the simple renovations, the very, very common type. And, each product is varied based on that. But if you're talking about like a hard renovation where if you wanted to add square footage onto the house, you wanted to do a full gut job, well, obviously there's a specific product within that renovation umbrella that we have for that. Actually, we have 3 products for that. If you wanted to do like major square footage, we have 3 different products you can do that with. So it just depends on what they're looking to do. And, someone might come in and just say, look, yeah, I want the bathrooms, the kitchen, paint, and I only want to spend 20 grand. Okay, well, let's go down that path of that program. It just depends on what they want to do. It really is. And it's all based on the client because, one thing I don't know is like, okay, I don't know cost. That's because I am not Home Depot or, wherever you buy that stuff at. So, you'd have to find out like, okay, what is that going to cost me? Okay, this is it's going to cost X. Which product is best for that? So, and that's just one of those things we have to look into and we have to dive into with the customer.
Yeah, I find it all the time where I'm working with clients and a lot of them are saying, hey, I need a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom. We run into a whole bunch of 3 bedrooms and I'm like, now that we know that there's a possibility of potentially adding a bedroom, we definitely have that option now.
100%. 100%. I mean, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, the product is about, this whole thing is just trying to make sure we're showing people that you have options, that you don't always have to find that house that is perfect, because there are so many other options that you could, if you just kind of took a step back and said, okay, you know what? We really like that house. We like the neighborhood. Yeah, it wasn't beautiful inside. And we're not really sure how we would ever pay for that down the road, because that's the biggest thing about renovation. Anybody, You buy a house, and I think about this all the time. You buy a house, okay, I know one day I want to do the kitchen. I know one day we want to do the bathrooms. Well, we'll do that one day, but let's just get in the house now. We can do it over time and we'll figure it out. Well, what's the biggest obstacle with that? Getting the money to do that. So this takes out that whole problem right now, is just do it up front. You don't have to worry about coming up with all that money, because everyone's living, inflation is hurting all of us. So, but if you could do it now instead of waiting, why not?
You sound like you have a personal story about that. I know we talked about it in open house, but would you like to share it?
Yeah, I always talked about, I bought a house years ago that the house was nice, but the kitchen was not. The kitchen was original. And so we thought about, okay, we'll do the kitchen one day. Well, that one day really never came because it just got so expensive that I didn't know how I was going to come up with the money. Eventually, we did sell that house. And, we just couldn't do it. And so I think about that all the time, is that you could do this now instead of waiting. And so if everyone knew about this and talked about it, and don't be afraid of it, because there's nothing to be afraid of. And I think that's maybe why some people don't talk about it, is just that they're not comfortable with it. They don't understand it. I think I told you, this past weekend at the open house, I tried to talk to every person that walked through that door about this, because it's like, hey, do you guys like this house? Why don't we go find a house that may not look like this, but we can make it look like this? And especially, and what I mean is the kitchen, the bathrooms were redone. You can go find the exact same house and we can get this done for you, but you can make it the way you want it to be. Yes, these folks did a great job in this house, but you can pick out the tile, the cabinets, whatever, the paint. So I literally was talking to every person about it as they walked through that door. Mm-hmm. Just to spread the word.
Yeah, and when it comes to renovation costs and also ARV, I think it's completely crazy how big of a gray area that is.
Yeah.
Because, you take two different houses or two of the same houses, you change out the material and you change out the artistry working into it, and you're talking, tens of thousands of dollars that could be different.
Yeah, 100%. And because everybody wants the house that's already done. But that's the problem. Everybody wants the house that's already done.
Yeah, no one wants to move into, or not a lot of people want to move into a construction zone.
Right. And this is, you and I, and we've already said it, this is not for everyone. Some people don't want to deal with that construction. Maybe down the line, they might say, okay, we'll tackle one thing at a time. But, some folks just say, I don't want, this is not for me. Yes, I watch HDTV and I watch Chip and Joanna Gaines, and, they pick the house and then they turn around and they flip it into, some people don't want to deal with that. And I get it. But I think if you're open to it, I think the possibilities could be endless.
Yeah, I think someone who does take advantage of this type of product, I think it would be really powerful, especially for those buyers out there who've, shooting out offers left and right, can't get anything accepted. They see older homes and, they don't mind moving in there just as long as it was a little bit more updated, at least to their liking. I think that's probably the number one person who would take the best advantage of this.
I think so too. And I think, those folks who are going for that house that is not so pretty and they're just, okay, we're just settling because we need to get in a house. We need to get into the market, which is key, but you could take care of this as well at the same time. Mm-hmm. That's the whole idea. And so, educating, spreading the word, it's very doable.
Now, what about future-proofing your home and energy efficiency?
So that's another within our umbrella of products. There's actually another product we have within that for those folks who, let's just say the house is not so bad, okay? But you want to energy efficient the house. Like, okay, I think you and I were at a house one day and I told you, I was like, this house needs new windows. So energy efficient, there's a product just for energy efficient type of products. Windows, hot water heater, roof, solar, name it, energy efficient stuff. There's a renovation product just specifically for those things that we have. So it's not just about, doing a kitchen and stuff, but if you just want to stick to energy efficient stuff, appliances, things like that, there's a product specifically for that as well.
And are there any other frequently asked questions that you've ran into?
No, the biggest question is, do you do investment properties? That's the biggest question that I always get. So, because everyone's mind, if they know about it, is like, oh, it's owner occupied. I have to live in the house. But investment property, that's the biggest one for sure. For sure.
Well, cool. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for allowing me to talk about it. As I've told you, I am so passionate about this product and, wanting to help folks who are willing to take the leap with me, because I really think it can open up a lot of avenues and possibilities in regards to what you can find out there, no matter where you're at. But don't be afraid of it. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.